Hello, and welcome to another episode of Under a Rock with Brielle and Guerlain. Today we are doing something a little bit different. We're only talking about 2 episodes today. We are talking about the Southern Raiders episode and the Ember Island Players episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender. And the reason we're doing this is because we want to talk about the 4-part season finale in one big episode, just to keep everything together. So this episode might be a little shorter than normal, but we hope that you will like it anyway.
So
Yeah.
let's jump into it.
Let's get into it. The Southern Raiders episode.
What a really heavy episode.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of a bit of a shift, because even though like Boiling Rock had its heavier moments, it was still, I think, kind of lighthearted throughout all of it.
Right.
But this is like not that at all. This is like, oh, life-changing field trip with Zuko with murder.
Yeah, murder on Katara's mind.
Yeah. But anyway, so the episode starts and everyone is just sleeping peacefully in the air temple, and a bunch of Fire Nation ships come. And something that I thought was really cool is that Aang does a little airbending move, and there are these shutters that close. And I just really like that, because it shows that, you know, the airbenders did not give up without a fight, that they weren't just these meek people who let the Fire Nation, destroy them, that they had things in place to protect them.
Right.
Again, airbenders and airbending tend to strike me as very defensive as opposed to like offensive, but still, it's nice to see that there are these like cool systems in place.
Right.
Something that like bothers me is I'm kind of mad that like we don't get to see anyone interact with each other. Like, we just got Suki, Hakoda, and Chitsang, and now they're gone. Bye! Like, because Appa won't go through the tunnels, so Teo, the Duke, Haru, Chitsang, and Hakoda leave, basically, and get to the warship so they can, I guess, go somewhere else. I don't know where they go.
We never find out.
We never find out where they go. I assume to like the White Lotus camp, but like how would Hakoda know where that is?
Yeah.
I have no idea where they go.
It's all speculation.
Yeah. That would be an interesting spin-off episode. Like what these people, because what an interesting group of people to just be on a ship together.
I could just imagine Chitsane like sharing his prison stories with the Duke, and the Duke is just like, okay,
I could just picture like Hakoda and Chitsang, because they're the only adults, being like, hey, so you were in prison? Yeah, I was. You were in prison too? Yeah, I was. You got a wife or something? I did. I had a wife. There's this thing that I'm trying with my friend. I don't know. Oh, cool. Yeah. I had a girlfriend, but I left her behind in jail. Fun. Yeah, fun. Like that's just
the whole dynamic.
And scene. Okay.
I love how that was really good.
Thank you.
Clap it up for Brielle. Use that theater degree, When I thought it was funny that Sokka says bye to his dad, and it instantly grabs Suki.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but Suki's coming with us.
Listen, Dad, it's been a very long war. I'm very stressed. I need this. Yeah. I that's the thing that I think bothered me about season 3 is what was the point? What was the point of having Teo, the Duke, and Haru there if they weren't going to do anything? Because they didn't do anything. Maybe they each had a line in one episode or something. Like, I understand that, like, they were brought into the show again because they were at the invasion the Day of the Black Sun. And I understand that, like, they went with the gang because they're not going to put children in prison. But what was the point of having them there if you're not going to use them?
Right.
It really, that's the thing that I think really bothers me about book 3. Like, one of my very few complaints is that they're just there and we don't get to do anything with them. We don't get any interaction. And then when Hakoda and Chitsang and Suki come, we don't get any interaction. Like, I'm not saying I needed 15 episodes, but like, I'm going to say something controversial. I would rather have cut Ember Island Players and put a different filler episode in where the gang interacts with everybody. I would have rather have that than Ember Island Players. I said it.
I mean, it's a fair point.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Definitely, maybe they had plans. Because when it comes to working with a network, the creators never have the final say.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So maybe there was something planned with them, but
Yeah.
Nickelodeon was just like, X-nay that,
Yeah.
you know?
Or I guess it's just like the writers or the creators were like, oh, and Haru is there because he's there with his dad. Of course he's there. He wants to help. And then they're like, wait, but we can't send children to prison. Except they did. They sent Suki to prison. But like, we can't send kids to prison. So they were like, quick, get him with the gang.
Right.
But regardless, so those guys leave. And then it's just the Zuko, Katara, Aang, Toph, Suki, and Sokka on Appa and Momo. And that's it. And then they're like fighting, and the Fire Nation is like throwing bombs. And who rises out of the mist but Azula?
Dramatic entrance.
Yeah. And they're like, what are you doing here? And she's like, haven't you heard? I'm about to celebrate becoming an only child.
So dramatic. And
Iconic line. Iconic line.
it just goes back to what you were saying last episode about her screws starting to become unloose.
Oh yeah, because I feel like in every other battle that she has, she never like yells like that.
Yeah.
And the only time, weirdly enough, I was thinking about it, the only time we see her yell is when she's very passionate about something. Like, for example, she sort of yells when they were playing beach volleyball.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine adrenaline's pumping because she was just doing something really athletic. 2, she gets really like creepy when she kisses that guy. Who is it, Chan? She kisses Chan.
Yeah.
And now, after her 2 friends have betrayed her brother basically betrayed her. She's very, very passionate, and her sanity and her control, more importantly, is slipping.
Mm.
Yeah.
So it sounds like whenever she's somewhat emotional,
Mm-hmm.
it makes her erratic.
Yeah. Well, think of how she was raised. She
Right.
was raised to kind of always be in control and always, be ahead of everyone by like 5 steps. She can't afford to be emotional, to be irrational because of her emotions.
Yeah.
Which sucks because she's at an age where your emotions are all over the place. And so these little moments where her emotions are just too strong and peek through, it like unsettles her, and you can see that,
Right. Before Zuko and Azula has their showdown, Zuko bravely saves Katara from
Mhm.
falling rocks, and Katara just like, "What do you think you're doing?" And Zuko just like, he's like, "Saving you, ungrateful." I should have let you get crushed by rocks. Then what? Oh, Zuko, why didn't you save me? You're never happy.
Yeah. It's funny. Yeah, I'm saved now. Get off.
Yeah. Like, damn.
Also, I have a question. How does Azula, so like she did this in the previous episode. Azula like shoots fire through her feet like a jetpack. How does she do that? She's wearing shoes.
I guess it's the same thing as like, how does fire come out of your hand? Like, you don't actually see it come out. It's almost like a space between the hand and then the flame.
Yeah, but they're not wearing gloves when they firebend. But she's literally wearing shoes.
I feel like there was an instance where someone was wearing.
Like, do they make shoes in the Fire Nation that can like that are conducive to that? Like, they're not like because you wouldn't want to make them flammable because then they'd catch fire and burn your feet.
Mm-hmm.
But you couldn't make them like not flammable because then the fire wouldn't be able to get through or be as powerful. So like, how do the shoes work in the Fire Nation?
Well,
these are the questions that plague me.
if we're thinking about their armor, it seems like the Fire Nation armor is like more metallic.
Yeah.
When I'm just thinking about every time someone touches their armor or like they make a sound, it seems metallic. So maybe that helps. But what I want to lean more on is I think bending is more of a aura thing. So no matter what you're wearing, like you're fine. Like it
doesn't matter.
Right, like your outfit becomes part of you, so that when you bend, no matter what you do, it doesn't affect. That's just a theory.
So you're kind of leaning more into the magic of it.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's fine. I mean, that's the kind of only explanation we have. Also, besides, it looks fucking cool.
Right.
Okay, yeah. I was just curious because like I was watching it and I was, huh? How does that work? Yeah, so she like shoots fire through her feet, and her and Zuko have this like crazy fight on top of an airship. And what's awesome is that Zuko's gotten so much better at firebending. Like you
Yeah.
can see that because up until now, every time that he's fought Azula, it's kind of been more in Azula's favor. She's always been the more powerful one. But now, not only does his firebending look smoother, it's just more powerful. He doesn't have to like grunt and groan and really push for it. It seems like it's more effortless
Mhm.
because of the dragons.
Right.
And that's really cool. It's really cool to watch them fight because this is Zuko kind of at his peak, at his most powerful, and it's awesome.
And we see that when they both get knocked back.
Yeah.
Never seen that before.
Yeah, he's able to get Azula down. Yeah.
Mhm.
So like they keep fighting and they both fall and Zuko falls first and it's like, "No!" And then he rises up out of the smoke like a fucking badass and then they fight some more and then him and Azula fall. And he manages to fall like Katara or Sokka like catches him and pulls him into Appa's thing. Appa's like little nest and then he's like, "Oh my god, Azula's not gonna make it." And then she like again shoots fire out of her feet and like catches the wall. And he's like, "Of course she makes it."
But she catches the wall with her hair comb.
Yeah, her
pin
hair
thing.
like pin.
How strong has that been? Like damn, like it didn't like crack or anything.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, like a badass. Yeah.
yeah. And that last shot of her like in the wall with like her hair blowing is like really cool. Like
It
it's a
is.
great shot.
That'd be a cool painting.
Yeah. If someone like a fan artist wanted to do like scenes.
Mhm.
So yeah, so they get to like some clearing and they're just kind of camping for the night and you know, Katara is still kind of holding a grudge against Zuko. Like even though he taught Aang firebending, even though he saved her brother, her father, she still kind of hates him, which again, fair. Like
Mhm.
when I was watching this the first time, I was never mad at Katara for being mad at Zuko. Like I can understand like maybe being like, "All right, Katara, that's enough. Like he's here, get used to him." But and while I definitely was like, "Oh, I want everybody to have fun. Everybody have fun now."
Yeah.
Now, I never was like, Katara, let it go." Like I understood why she was so upset. Um, and basically, she tells Zuko that like she's holding a grudge against him because of what he represents, more so than what he's done. It's because he represents the Fire Nation. The Fire Nation killed her mother, and she's still holding that very, very close to her heart. And so Zuko is like, "Okay, so I know what I have to do." So he is walking towards Sokka's tent and he bumps into Suki and he's like, "Oh, did you want to talk to Sokka too?" And she's like, "No, what? Why would I want to talk to Sokka? Who's Sokka? I don't know a Sokka."
Right.
And then he goes into the tent. It's so funny. He goes into the tent and his face is just because Sokka's just decked it out in like candles and roses and he's like posed seductively with a rose in his mouth. And like on one hand, aw, that's really sweet. Like if Suki had walked in, that would have been very romantic. Like,
Right.
good job, Sokka. That's a good shot. That's a good try. On the other hand, that's like so goddamn cringy.
Yeah, I mean they are what 15, 16.
Yeah, 15, 16. Where did he get all those roses?
And the candles.
Yeah, where did he get them?
Who knows?
The power of love.
Yes.
So he's like, "Oh, hey Zuko, what's up?" And he willingly eats the flower rather than like admit to anything. Zuko, being the ever tactful person that he is, does not realize what's going on and says, "Hey Sokka, how did your mom die?"
Damn, bro. Like way to
Kill
kill
a
the
mood.
mood. Yeah.
Sokka basically tells Zuko what happened on the day that his and Katara's mother died. So basically what happened was they were playing, being all cutesy little kids, and the black snow started to fall, the recurring theme of the black snow being a bad omen. And he goes to get his father. Katara goes to get her mom. And when she gets to her mom, there's like somebody in the tent already. And we see Kaya, who looks a lot like Sokka again. And the guy is like, you're going to give me information or bad stuff's going to happen. So she says, Katara, like, get out of here. I'll handle this. It's okay. Go get your father. And Katara does. And all the men are fighting. And then kind of out of nowhere, they just stop fighting and the Fire Nation leaves. And when Katara goes back to her mother is dead. Which is sad.
It is.
That's very sad.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really traumatic. Like that's, oh boy.
Which goes back, and we clearly obviously see the trauma in Katara.
Yeah.
But it goes back to I forgot which episode it was, but it goes back to the Painted Lady when Katara just like, no, I'm not leaving these people hanging. 'Cause last time I did.
Yeah. So basically, Zuko's like, oh, Katara hates me because I represent the people who killed her mother, and she's never been able to kind of move past that. I know what to do. And so he leaves, and Sokka's like, okay, bye, get out. Hey, Suki, come back. I wonder if the romantic night was kind of ruined, because, like, I can't help but imagine, like, Suki coming in and being like, okay, Sokka, I'm ready to... Why are you crying? Why are you crying? Zuko!
I mean...
Fucking cockblock.
I don't know, man. I'm thinking. That's what I wanted to do.
He seemed okay.
He seemed okay, but I wanted to look up if something... Because the next time we see Sokka, he's like making a necklace or something, right? He's sitting at the rock. He's making something.
He's making like a flower crown almost, yeah.
So I wanted to know... I was going to Google if like that represented anything. Like if maybe they did it and that's like a sign that they did it.
I don't know.
But I forgot to Google it before this.
I don't know. I think it was just... Maybe he was making it for Suki. I don't know if it meant like... I don't know if it's like, you know, the Hawaiian I got laid thing. I don't think it's like that. I think he was just like, I'm going to make something pretty for Suki. Because Sokka's a good boyfriend.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I really want to speculate on whether a bunch of teenagers had sex. But I don't know.
I get it.
Regardless, they probably had a very nice night.
Yeah.
You know, saying they loved each other and like kissing and junk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but basically, Zuko and Katara are like, we're going to go and we're going to find the man who killed your mother and you're going to get your revenge. I'm going to help you because I know where he is. And so Katara's like, hey, can I borrow Appa? And Aang's like, sure, why? For murder. No, don't.
You can't.
Yeah. So basically, Katara is like, give me Appa, I want to go. And Aang's like, no, that's a bad idea. Like, revenge is never a good idea. Aang basically gives this airbender kind of quote that like, revenge is like a two-headed snake. When your enemy is going down, you're going down too, which is similar to the whole when you go out to commit revenge, dig two graves. The idea that revenge hurts you as much as it hurts them is like a really important lesson, and I'm glad that, you know, the show said that. But yeah, Aang is like, this isn't gonna help. You have to like let it go. You have to let your anger go. You have to forgive. That's the first step to healing. And Katara's like, no, I don't want to forgive. I don't ever want to forgive this man. I can't forgive this man. Which, the thing about this episode is that it's not about Yan Ra. It's not about the Fire Nation. It's not about any of that. It's about Katara. Like, Katara does have someone that she needs to forgive, and it's herself. She doesn't have to forgive Yan Ra. She doesn't have to forgive the Fire Nation. That's not what this is about. It's about her. And that's, I think, what Aang was trying to get at, but she didn't understand yet. Because she only saw her pain. She didn't understand that he was saying you have to forgive on a grand scale. The thing that's crazy is that Aang, out of all of them, has the most anger. You know?
Right.
Like, Katara and Zuko, I think, are the ones who express their anger the most and the loudest, which isn't a bad thing. I'm just, you know. But I feel like out of all of them, Aang is the one who has the most pain and the most anger inside of him. I'm not saying it like it's a competition. It's not a competition, but I'm just saying like out of all of them, Aang has lost the most. And yet, Aang is the calmest, the wisest, the one who says to forgive and let go. He has every reason to be committing murder right and left. He has every reason, you know, he has all the power to do that. he's the most powerful person in this world, and yet he chooses to let it go, which is the hardest thing to do with your anger,
Right.
you know? Because you can get revenge, you can let it consume you, or you can just let it go. And that's so hard. And he does it time and time again, you know?
And he brings that up to
Yeah.
try to make Katara see the error
Yeah.
that this is not the right path. But like you said before, she just can't see it right now.
Yeah. You know, even Sokka, um, is on Aang's side, and he's like, this is not the right thing that's going to help you, Katara.
Mm.
Um, you know, I like that moment for Sokka because it really shows his growth. Not that he was ever like revenge, you know, but you know, the fact that it was his mother too, and even he realizes that killing the man who killed Kaya isn't going to help is, I think, speaks volumes about his intelligence and his wisdom.
Yeah.
Um, and then Katara shoots back, well, maybe you didn't love her like I did, which, ooh, that cuts. But he doesn't fight her about it.
No.
You know, he really doesn't. It's so interesting because every time that Katara has kind of shot back at Sokka, something about him not caring or not loving the way that she does, because she did it before in the Runaway, he never kind of yells back at her, because I think as the older brother, he realizes that she is like working through some stuff. And like, I like that about his character, because he doesn't need to fight Katara about who loved their mother more, because he knows that he loved her.
Right.
And he knows that Katara loved her, and it's not a competition. That's not what this is about, you know?
He knows that she's just angry.
Yeah.
This scene, even though it's animation
Yeah.
and voice acting, I feel like it's Oscar deserving. Like this
Well,
one
Emmy
scene here.
deserving. It's a TV show.
Hmm?
Emmy deserving. It's a TV show.
What do you mean?
Emmy, not
Oh,
Oscar.
Emmy. No, I'm saying because since it's only animation, I know Oscar only goes to what, like live action stuff, right?
Oscars are movies. Emmys are TV.
Oh. Oh.
That's
Okay.
why I was saying Emmy. It wasn't.
Oh, I thought you were saying
It has
because
nothing to do with
specifically.
animation. I'm
No,
saying Avatar's a TV show. It would only get an Emmy.
only an Emmy.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, it's an Emmy deserving.
Oh, definitely.
Performance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The voice acting was like, chef's kiss. It was really, really good. You can really hear the pain and the anger that every character has in this scene. And like, you know, Aang and Sokka are trying to be like, no, don't do it. And even Zuko's like, stop being a little baby. We're gonna go kill some people. Grow up.
Which kind of hints at his further question, like knowing what he's gonna ask Aang at the end of the episode,
Yeah.
and watching this, a lot of what Zuko is saying and the way he's acting towards Aang every time Aang says, don't choose revenge. And it's like, okay, Mr. Goody Two Shoes.
Yeah.
Because it's like Zuko's thinking, dude, what are you even talking about right now? Like, by the end of the summer, you have to fight my dad. What are you talking about? Don't choose violence. Like, shut the
Yeah.
fuck up, Like, stop being a little bitch right now.
Yeah.
I don't understand what you're doing.
Yeah.
So,
Well, because, again, I think this speaks to the ways that these kids grew up. Zuko, 100%, and also Katara and Sokka grew up with violence. Aang did not. So, of course, Zuko doesn't see the problem in, killing people. I mean, obviously, like, he knows that that's not a good thing. But, like, he understands that, like, sometimes you gotta kill people. And, and Aang did not grow up in that mindset. So, he always has other options in his head. And that's something that Zuko, I think, kind of learns or has to learn as well.
right.
And so like Aang says, you know what? Fine. Go do what you got to do. I'll be here when you get back, which is like, honestly, awesome. Because Aang could have really condemned Katara, and he never does. He never does. And to be honest, if she had killed Yanra, I don't think he would have. I don't think he would have condemned her or looked at her differently.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would have still loved her and supported her. But he lets them go, and Zuko and Katara go off to get Yanra. And see, this is why, okay, so a lot of people use this episode as like why Zuko and Katara make a good romantic pair. And again, I'm not saying don't ship it. I'm not saying you're wrong to ship it. Do what you want. I personally don't, but do what you want. All in good fun. But this episode actually, I think, is what made me realize that they are not meant to be a romantic ship because they're so similar and not necessarily in a good way. Like, they are 100%, I think, like, you know, ride or die, which is great. That's what you want in a friend. But they're like both ride or die in the same way. Like, Katara's like, I want to commit a murder. And Zuko's like, great, let's go commit a murder.
Right.
Like, that's not okay. And they both react in the same way. They're both very, very passionate, very, very outspoken about things that they perceive as wrong and right. And those are great qualities. But when two people are like that together, nothing's gonna, like, you're gonna, like, butt heads because both people are gonna think that they're right. And both people are going to be yelling at each other. And obviously, like, in real life, you can be in a relationship with whoever you want. And if you love them enough and care about them enough, you can make it work. But I feel like Katara and Zuko are just way too similar to have a successful romantic relationship. And that's why I like Katara and Aang, because when she gets up here, he can be like, come on down.
Right.
And you know what? When he gets up here, she can be like, okay, come on down. Like, Zuko and Katara just keep pushing each other higher and higher and higher, which is great for when you're trying to commit a murder, but it's not so great when you're just trying to parent your kids.
Exactly. I mean, I guess it just shows who the fan base is. It's a bunch of kids who don't know anybody relationship. Or if it is adults, I would imagine it's the same adults that, like, romanticizes, correct? Did I say it correct? Romanticize or just romanticize?
Yeah, romanticizes.
Okay. Romanticizes Joker and Harley Quinn, which is so weird to me when people do that.
I don't want to say that they're the same people because, you know, those are weird people. I would say the people who ship Zutara are the same people who used to ship, like, Hermione, like Draco and Hermione, like the whole enemies to lovers thing. Like, that's where it comes from. I mean, at least Zutara, they end up as friends. Draco and Hermione never end up as friends, but I think the reason people ship it is because, again, it's because they're both so passionate and, like, that's fun to imagine, you know? But also I think it's like, even when you're at your worst, there are still people who will love you. Of course, all of Zuko's friends love him, and he has May who loves him. So it's not exactly, but, you know, I mean, I don't want people to think that I'm, like, saying, like, oh, screw all Zutaras, you're wrong, you're crazy. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that this episode actually proved to me that they work better as a sibling parallel than a romantic parallel.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so they get to this, like, station where all the communications about the Fire Nation Navy come in and out, and they are so good. They're so badass and not, like, ninja. Like, they're just weaving in and out and, like, getting in quick and getting out fast. Like, they are a team.
Yeah.
Like, I would not see, that's what I mean. Like, they are such a good pair. I don't want to mess with them.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they're so efficient. And they're so, like, they're crazy good ninjas. And so they get to the tower and they, like, burst open the door and, like, they think that that guy is the guy who killed her mother. Turns out he's not. And Katara, like, bloodbends him. And you see Zuko's eyes widen and he's like, oh man, I joined at the right time. Oh man. She could bloodbend this whole time?
Holy shit.
Yeah. I'm so glad she's kind of my friend now.
Right.
But yeah, she bloodbends this guy. No remorse. No remorse. And they find out where Yan Ra is, who is the actual person who murdered her mother. They go to this, like, Fire Nation, like, village on Whaletail Island, and you see Yan Ra, and he's kind of an old man. He lives a bleak and awful life. Like, not awful, but, like, he's emasculated by his mother, which, like, I don't know if I love that joke. I don't know if I don't really love emasculation jokes because it's just sexist. Like, oh, women, you know, emasculate men, women are terrible. Like, But regardless, he is emasculated. He is kind of poor. He just kind of shuffles around. He doesn't care about anything. His life is so bleak and meaningless. Katara, there's, like, another flashback, and you see that Yan Ra, the reason that they went to the Water Tribe is because they heard that there was another waterbender and they wanted to stamp him out before it became an issue. And so Kaya said that she was the waterbender to save Katara. And so Yanra killed Kaya. So that's what happened. That's the whole story. What I want to know is, what were Yanra's sources? Who told him that there was a waterbender? How would they even know?
Yeah, I was wondering that too.
Like, unless, like, you know, there was a previous raid while Katara was still alive and someone saw baby Katara waterbend, like, who told them? Like, how did they know? That's what was bothering me. I was like, who told them? Anyway, so Katara and Zuko come on him and he, like, immediately breaks down. He's whimpering, saying, like, please don't kill me, take my mother, like, which is awful.
Yeah.
And Katara is so crazy powerful. She, like, creates a sphere so that they're not getting rained on. And then she stops the rain. And then she turns it into ice and just, like, hovers it above his chest. Like, oh my God. If Katara was not a good person, this would be a very different world because, wow, she's crazy powerful.
Yeah.
So Zuko's like, do it. Like, here he is, the man who killed your mother, and Katara can't do it. She doesn't kill Yanra. She yells at him, and then she lets him go to cry in the dirt. And then she and Zuko go back home. And something that struck me that I just want to talk about, and sorry to, like, bring it into my own personal life, but the thing about Yanra is that Yanra is not a mustache twirling, cackling evil villain. He was literally just a captain in the Fire Nation Navy doing stuff. Like, it's the whole, like, I was just following orders kind of thing. I don't think Yanra, like, regrets his service, but he, like, I feel like Katara, because of what happened, she pictured, like, Ozai, like a real evil guy. And instead, she's faced with this man who just did what he was told and didn't think about the consequences, didn't care about the consequences. Because that's the thing about the military, is there are so many people in the military that for them, it's just a job. You clock in, you clock out. And these people don't consider the implications of what they're doing. Oh, I'm in the military, but I don't do anything, like, I don't shoot people. I'm just working on the computers. No, but you contribute. You know, sorry to make this, like, kind of anti-military, but, like, so for him, that was probably just a random day in his life. Oh, gotta go to the water tribe, kill some people. Like, I do that every day. So so I think Katara realizes that in this moment, that this is not some evil mwahaha kind of man. This is just a jerk who didn't care then and he doesn't care now.
Yeah.
You know? Because if he was really evil, if he, like, enjoyed killing, he would have maybe tried to fight her. He would have been like, yes, I killed your mother and I'll kill you. Mwahaha. That's probably what she was expecting. And instead she has this shell of a man who immediately breaks down, immediately whimpers and cries, because for him, he never cared, and that's truly evil. Like, the real evil of the world is people who say nothing and people who do nothing. That's, like, a quote. I don't know who said it, but, like, yeah, the idea that, like, for him, it was just a day on the job. And, like, no offense, that's not fun.
No.
You can't commit revenge against someone like that.
Yeah.
You know, here's a quote. We'll see if people get it. For me, it was Tuesday. It's from Mortal Kombat. It's from the movie.
Oh, wow.
With Raul Julia. When he's talking about, like, yeah, anyway. So yeah, so I think that's one of the reasons that Katara doesn't go through with the revenge, because she realized that this man wasn't worth her time and her energy. Yeah, he was just following orders. He didn't care, you know. And then her and Zuko go back and they end up on Ember Island, basically, with everybody else. And she sees Sokka and Aang, and she gives Aang, and she, like, tells Aang that, like, she didn't do it, and Aang is very proud of her. And then she hugs Zuko and she's like, and now we're friends. Yay, and now they're friends. But the thing is, she did what Aang told her to do. She did forgive. She forgave herself, because for her, her mother's death, she, I think subconsciously thought it was her fault. She left her mother. She wasn't there to protect her. She was the waterbender.
Mm-hmm.
If she hadn't been the waterbender, her mother would be still alive. And so I think she had all this misplaced guilt and hurt and pain and anger, and it manifested, and she pointed it out towards the Fire Nation because that was easier.
Yeah.
It was easier to hate the Fire Nation and want to just get revenge on that one guy who killed her mother rather than deal with the fact that her mother died and it wasn't her fault. That there was nothing Katara could have done to save her mother, and she has to let it go. And that's what Aang was talking about.
Right.
And now that Katara has kind of let that pain at herself go, she can move on. She doesn't have to forget her mother. She doesn't even have to stop being angry at the Fire Nation, but she is now able to move on to become a better person, to help people the way that she really wants to.
That's where the healing truly starts.
Exactly, yeah. And now she can be friends with Zuko because she realizes it's not his fault either. They're both children kind of caught in this web of war,
Right.
And just he was doing stuff that he couldn't control, she was doing stuff that she couldn't control, and now they are on the same page, which is wonderful. Yeah, she really, honestly, this whole episode, Katara forgave Zuko, herself, Sokka, Aang. She forgave everybody.
Forgiveness all around.
Yeah, and something that I want to bring up is I saw this on Tumblr. Someone else wrote this. I'm just quoting them. Again, the parallel between Azula and Katara as siblings. Azula is a sister who hurts. Katara is a sister who heals. And that's what Zuko needs. He needs a sister who heals. Not only him, but herself. One day, hopefully, Azula will be able to heal herself and therefore have a relationship with Zuko. But right now, he needs someone who not only can take care of herself and her own emotional issues, but help him with his own.
So far, in the comments, it's not looking that way, but we'll see.
In the comics?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Well, Azula, there's a lot of shit going on there.
Yeah. And then the episode ends off with the very glaring question that if you was paying attention, you will ask yourself too. If violence isn't the answer, Aang, then pray would you mind telling me, what are you going to do when you face the Fire Lord?
Yeah.
Are you just going to drink over some tea? Because that's my uncle, not my dad.
Yeah.
He doesn't do tea.
But it's a important question because with the Day of the Black Sun, I think Aang was like, I'm going to kill him. He wasn't prepared to. But I think Aang was in his head, I'm going to kill him. But now that failed, I think he's having second thoughts. And so Zuko's question is a really important one. What are you going to do, Aang, when you meet my father? Because you're going to have to do something.
Yeah.
It's your responsibility. It's your burden.
Oof.
It's but it's an episode that ends, I think, really hopeful, except for that last part.
Yeah.
But it ends really good because Katara has healed.
Yeah, and that's what's important.
Yeah. And now everyone is friends. Yay. Which is what I wanted. Page. Okay, so let's go on to Brielle and Players.
Yeah.
Okay, so the episode starts. Aang and Zuko are firebending, and they are super good. They are just so smooth, so effortless. Aang doesn't have any fear. It's beautiful to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And they take a break, and, Toph and Katara are like, yay, you guys are so good. You're also really cute. Look at you with your shirts off. And Sokka and Suki come back from the village. Suki is looking beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Fire Nation fashion is the best. It is so good, Fire Nation fashion. She looks amazing. They look so good.
I agree.
I love Suki's Fire Nation outfit. Yeah, but Sokka and Suki found a poster for a play in town. And fun fact, the poster of the play is the same cover as the DVD cover.
Right.
I feel like most people know that, but I didn't know that, so I thought that was cool. And they're like, yeah, it's a play about us. It's a play about the Avatar. And they have all these sources. And one of the sources was an extremely knowledgeable cabbage seller.
Yeah, he would know.
Oh, man.
Multiple run-ins.
I love that the cabbage guy is a source because you know that someone like was just walking along and said out loud, like, oh, and I need to get some more sources for my Avatar play. And he went, Avatar? I can tell you about the Avatar. I can tell you about that awful, awful child.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but so they're like, we should go. It's by the Ember Island Players. And Zuko, theater kid after my own heart, is like, ew, no. Like they butcher these plays. They're terrible. It's a terrible theater troupe. I don't want to go. And then Sokka's like, in a very like breaking the fourth wall moment, is like, come on, this is just the kind of silly, stupid stuff we need to do.
We need a filler episode.
Yeah, we need one. Last episode was really heavy. So they all decide to go, which was a mistake.
Mhm.
Okay, something else. So, again, sorry to bring it back to Zutara, but a lot of people say that the moment where like Zuko sits in between Aang and Katara is like, ooh, he likes her. I don't think it's that. I think it's literally that Zuko is the most oblivious person I've ever seen in my entire life. He's so oblivious to any kind of romance. Like, he literally bumped into Suki sneaking into Sokka's tent and was like, oh, nothing weird. Let me go in.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of good social cues.
Yeah, and so I think and also, I think when Aang is like, but I wanted to sit there, and Zuko's like, just sit next to me. I think in that moment, there was like a split second where Zuko was like, I have two choices here. I can either move over and let Aang sit next to Katara, or I can stay where I'm sitting. And he decided, I'm going to be a little shit, and I'm going to stay where I'm sitting because I am stubborn as hell.
Yeah, that's Zuko for you.
Yeah, I mean, he's so oblivious and he's so stubborn. Like, Aang could have been like, actually, I was sitting there, or Aang could have said, actually, I wanted to give something to Katara, and Zuko would be like, I'm sitting here, get over it. I have glued my butt to this seat because I am
moving.
16 years old and annoying.
But Aang, I mean, if Aang really wanted to,
Oh yeah,
after intermission,
he could have sat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just doubles down.
Hmm.
So, the play is basically the story of Avatar, basically, and the episode was written as kind of a love letter, I think, to the fans. Something that I was surprised about is I knew it as there were a lot of like jokes and stuff that were for the fans, so I was expecting to not get a lot of the jokes because I wasn't part of the fandom when the episode first aired. So I was afraid there were going to be a lot of like in jokes that I wouldn't get, but I understood all the jokes. I was worried for nothing. Did you get all the jokes when you watched it for the first time? Like, were there any jokes that like I missed? You know, like were there any jokes that were like, oh, you had to be on the message boards to get that joke?
I mean, I wasn't on any message boards, but
message boards. I just aged myself.
What? Yeah, you definitely.
Yeah,
did.
but that's what there were.
They were, yeah.
They were message boards.
Whatchamacallit, with the drill, I didn't know that the drill was an episode people didn't like. Because the crowd reaction, they were just yawning and
Oh, really?
I didn't think the drill was a bad episode.
I didn't read it as the fans of the show didn't like the episode. I just thought it as it's a really bad play and everyone's bored.
Oh.
Could be both.
Could be both.
Anyway, so the play starts and it's just awful. It's a really bad play. And it made me wonder, does so bad it's good exist in theater? I don't think it does. Because with movies, you can have so bad it's good. Like movies that are just awful to watch, but they're so funny because they're so bad. I don't think that exists in theater. I don't think the medium allows for so bad it's good. You know? Because I've seen bad theater, believe me. I've seen bad theater, but I've never seen something that was bad in like a funny way with theater, you know? I don't know if people have examples, I would love to know about it, but I don't think so bad it's good exists in theater. I don't think the medium allows for it. Because I think the reason that so bad it's good is a thing is because in movies, because the camera can get so close to you, you don't have to be very, very big and effusive. So when you are, it looks ridiculous, you know?
Right.
But in plays, you already have to kind of be over the top because that's just the nature of a play. You got to go to those cheap seats. So if you are going beyond that, it's just bad. There's no funniness to it. It's just bad, because you're already overacting in general. People are going to come for me for saying that, but it's true. You're already overacting in general when you're doing live theater.
Right.
That to go even further, it's just bad. Also, because the show changes every night and the audience changes every night, what an audience reacts to every time can be different. So an audience might think you're fine one night and then terrible the next. Whereas with a movie, it's immortalized. You have proof this is what it was. Whereas you and I could see the same show on 2 different nights. I could say it's terrible. You could say it was great,
Yeah, I mean, for me, when it comes to theater, it all depends on the writing. Like if the writing is good, then I'm just responding to your point of saying different audience react differently.
Yeah.
If the writing is good, the audience is gonna react the same regardless. And I only say that from experience. But to your point with the whole so bad is good aspect, I don't have a rebuttal. I gotta agree with you.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept to think about.
Yeah, because it's just being that it's live, it makes it more cringe worthy.
Yes, I think so.
So it is because you're there witnessing the person bombing or doing whatever, and just like.
I think also the reason it works for movies is because it had to go through so many people, and so for it still to be bad is very funny.
Yeah.
Like the actors had to act it, the director had to see it, the editor had to edit it, the studio heads had to watch it and be like, "Yes, this is a movie we want to release." Like
that's true.
And
also with theater etiquette, like you can't laugh. I mean, you can, but it'll be very disrespectful.
Yeah.
If someone is like putting on an emotional performance, but it's bad, and you just start bursting out laughing.
Yeah, it's easier in a movie because no one's there. It's just a picture. Yeah, no, that's definitely true. Yeah. So, the show starts and it's just a bad show. It's really bad. It's something that's actually kind of cool, and I don't know like why they did this, because the audience, like us as the people watching, wouldn't necessarily know it, but it's very clearly inspired by Panto. And like I'm like, what American child is gonna know that it's inspired by Panto? Like
what's Panto?
Panto is a pantomime. It is a type of British theater, and it's a little hard to explain because there isn't an equivalent in the US, but it's basically myths and legends from like English fairy tales, English myths, English fairy tales, English folk legends. And it's a play that it's meant to be kind of silly and interactive. Like you bring kids to a panto. And it has a lot of the same things in every type of panto. Like there's always like music and dancing. There's always a lot of like slapstick comedy. If the panto has a lead male character, they are always played by a woman. That's like the thing. And there's usually always a man in drag.
Okay.
Because this is like completely getting off topic, but like I studied theater in England. Drag has a very interesting history in England. Drag in England is very different than drag in the US. Like it's very, very interesting and complicated. Anyway, so pantos, they're really, really fun. They're really silly. Like you're meant to like call out and like be like, he's over there. Get him, Dick Whittington. But that's what I got when I watched The Boy in the Iceberg. Like I got panto vibes. Like it's a little over the top. A woman is playing the lead male character. Obviously, there's no music in Boy in the Iceberg, which kind of separates it from a panto, but I could see the influence, and that was kind of cool.
Okay.
I don't know if they did it on purpose that way, but I noticed it, so that was cool.
All right.
So Aang comes out of the iceberg, and it's a woman, and Aang is like weirdly unhappy about it, which is weird because he's normally not very like men, women, So he's like, what? I'm a girl? That sucks. And I was thinking about it because I was like, why is Aang so like pressed about this? Normally he's not very like Toph even says, like, you're the most feminine kind of out of all of the boys here. And I think it's because not that Aang has a issue with a woman playing him, it's because it's played for laughs. Like the Fire Nation citizens are laughing because Aang is a silly, flighty prankster woman, and men good, women bad. But I don't even know if it's that, because in the Fire Nation, men and women are kind of equal. You know, like there are women in the military, so I don't know if it's even that.
I was gonna say just on. At the end of the day, he's still 12 years old, so no matter how mature he is,
Yeah.
he's gonna. Cause I would react like that.
Yeah, I guess so.
At that age.
Yeah.
You know.
I guess also because like he didn't expect it. And then later on, he sees like Zuko and Toph, and they're played by like super like buff dudes, and
Yeah.
You know, I guess yeah.
Could be that.
Cause like I think part of it is sexism, like the Fire Nation is saying like, oh, he's a stupid little girl, but I also think it's not that. You know, I don't know.
Who knows?
I mean, it's not like they have the tradition of Peter Pan in the Fire Nation, so.
Imagine.
Yeah, so like they don't have that as like a reference or a reason. Yeah, but it's clearly an insult that Aang's like actor is a woman. And you know the play makes a lot of fun. Like Sokka always is like focused on food, and Katara is always like crying and giving speeches about hope. And both of them are like, we don't talk like that. And everyone's like, you kind of do though.
Yeah.
Something that is interesting also to me is like Katara is like weirdly sexualized in the play. Like obviously she's played by an adult woman, so like, you know, but I just think it's really interesting that like all of the other female characters in the play are, well, Toph is played by a man, but like Suki and Ty Lee and Azula and May all kind of look fine, like they just are in like what they wear, but like Katara's in like a very low cut dress with like a slit up to her like thigh. Like it's just weird that they like highly sexualized Katara as a character. That's weird. I don't like that, Fire Nation. I don't like that.
Fire? Oh, you blame the Fire Nation? Like,
well, I mean, technically I'm blaming the writers because they wrote it that way.
Right.
But like I blame the Fire Nation because like that was a choice.
Right.
That was a choice. I don't know what the choice was trying to say. I mean, I guess I could say that maybe they were trying to insinuate through Katara's costuming that like Water Tribe women are like, you know, like
that's
I don't want to say that word, but like that Fire Nation women are very like proper and elegant and perfect and beautiful, and the Water Tribe girls, they're all like, you know,
they know how to get down.
No, not even that. They're like primitive or, you know, base or, you know, like that's, I think, what they might have been subconsciously trying to say.
Yeah.
So that's not fun. And then so like the play goes through basically all their adventures. They have the Blue Spirit come out, and Zuko and Aang are like, ooh.
Yeah.
That was a thing that happened. But it's great that no one knows who the Blue Spirit is.
Yeah.
Like that's good. Like
Still
Zuko still has a secret identity. You know, they make fun of Zuko, and Iroh. You know, Iroh's always focused on like tea and being lazy. And Zuko is like, I don't talk like that. How could you say that? And then the actor is like, how could you say that? Which is actually really funny. Yeah, so they just watch everything, and you know, real props to that special effects guy. He was working by himself, doing all the special effects. He deserves a raise. He deserves to be in the union. He deserves a standing ovation. That special effects guy. He was doing the rain and the wind and like the drill thing. Like he was doing it all.
Yeah, I was wondering why he was by himself.
Because no one cares about stage crew. Because no one respects stage crew.
Huh. I mean, we respect this stage crew.
I know you and I do, but like people don't. Like it's a thing, and it's terrible, and it's a real problem in the theater industry that people in the stage crew and who do the technical stuff don't get the respect that they deserve. You deserve it. You deserve it.
Yes.
And then, is there an intermission before we see Toph?
Yeah, there is. They all sit in the back.
Oh yeah, and Katara's like, I don't talk like that, and Toph's like, yeah, you do though.
Sokka's like, I just don't make jokes about meat, and Suki's just like, yeah, you make jokes about other stuff too. And he's like, exactly, like not just meat. Um, I like Toph's point of view. Her
Yeah.
saying that what you guys are seeing, not necessarily that it's the truth, but
It's how other people view them.
right, it is a reflection. And I was thinking more of being that and being played by a woman. I was thinking more of like that's the energy he gives off.
Yeah.
You
He's
know,
definitely the most feminine, I think, out of all the men.
and same thing with Toph. Like her actor being
This huge guy.
that's the energy she gives off.
I also think that part of it was like the playwright was asking people about Toph, and they're like, okay, so what did like Toph look like? Who beat you? And they didn't want to say that it was a 12-year-old girl, so they were like, really, really tall, buff dude. He just happened to be blind. It wasn't a child. It wasn't a little girl. I feel like that might have been part of it.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, but the thing is that this is propaganda.
Yeah.
This isn't necessarily the truth. This isn't necessarily what actually people think about the gang. This is what specifically people in the Fire Nation think, added onto just pure propaganda.
Right.
You know, this play is meant to make the audience laugh at, hate, and distrust the Avatar and Zuko and praise the Fire Lord. Like, that's what it's doing at its core.
Yeah, basically.
So yeah, they go back to the show, and we are introduced to Toph's actor, and she loves it. She is all about it. She thinks it's so funny, which good for Toph. She can laugh at herself.
Mm-hmm.
And then like they just show more of like, you know, the characters on stage. Like we do the whole thing with like Ba Sing Se, and like they have Jet, and like Katara's actor is like, oh, Jet, and she's like, ooh, that was a bad look.
Yeah, that was a time.
Oh man. And Zuko's like, hey, I know that guy. And then I'm just like going all over the place. Like I'm not. They have the part with Boomy, which actually is kind of realistic to what happened. He was that crazy. And then they get to the part where Jet like comes back as a zombie.
I can't control myself.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he dies. And this is something that I want to bring up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like this play. I really, really don't.
Mm.
And one of the reasons that I do not like this play is because it's so disrespectful.
Mm.
It is so disrespectful to Jet's death and to Yue's death. And listen, I understand that they are enemies of the Fire Nation, so like why would the Fire Nation playwright care about making their deaths like, I don't know, respectful? But like, these were children who died, you know?
Yeah.
Like, especially with Yue, that one pissed me off. Also, how did they even know how Yue died? Zhao was the only one there. Was Zhao the only one there?
No, there was other the whole.
Oh, there were
army,
other. Okay, so
the
other people
soldiers.
saw her
Yeah.
ascend. Okay.
Well, I saw her, but I'm pretty sure like it spread around.
Okay, but there were people there besides Zhao who saw her do that, right?
Well, Zhao wasn't there when she did that.
Oh.
Zhao was fighting Zuko.
Oh yeah, but there were people in the Oasis.
Mm-mm. It was just Iroh.
So then, how did they know? How did they know?
The word got around.
From who? Who told anybody? Who was there to see it?
Well, Sokka. So Sokka also
Why
had to
would
tell.
Sokka be telling Fire Nation soldiers what happened to Yue?
No, not that Sokka told Fire Nation soldiers, but he also had to tell Yue's dad, and then Yue's dad had to tell the whole town that.
But why would
the
they be telling
princess-
Fire Nation soldiers what happened?
Because word goes around. They're like, hey, did you hear what happened? It's like the episode on Kyoshi Island. It's like, did you hear the avatars on Kyoshi Island? And word kept going around until it got to Zuko.
Yeah, but like the Northern Water Tribe is isolationist. Who were they telling that it got around? Like that's what I don't understand. How does anyone know how Yue died?
I don't know.
Unless the playwright spoke to someone in the Northern Water Tribe, which I guess is possible.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. I don't know how they knew. Again, and also, how did they know about Jet? No one else was there. Oh no, wait. Long Feng was there.
Right.
Oh, and they could have spoken to him.
Could have.
I don't know why any of these people would be speaking to a playwright, but unless they got a cut of the profits.
He was doing his research. He was traveling.
I guess. Anyway, yeah, it's just really disrespectful, and I don't like it. Like, Yue sacrificed herself for the good of her people. She was 16 years old. Disrespectful.
I mean, like you said, it's propaganda.
I don't care. Disrespectful.
They don't care either.
I know they don't care. That's why it bothers me. Yeah, but so Jet dies. And if I had to add one curse word, one F-bomb in Avatar: The Last Airbender, this is where I would have put it. Did Jet just fucking die?
What, Zuko?
Yeah, that would have been my one F-bomb in Avatar. The first time I watched the episode, I was like, why is everyone like unclear? Like, we all know Jet died. It was pretty obvious in that episode. But then I remembered Zuko wasn't there, so why would he know?
Right.
That's why he asked. So Jet dies in the play, and then it goes to the Crystal Catacombs scene, and the playwright, again, how did the playwright know? I mean, I guess they didn't say what actually Zuko and Katara said in the Crystal Catacombs, but like, why did the playwright write Zutara? Why did he do that? What was the point of that?
I guess to give Zuko motive to cross over. To make it like,
to like betray the... Yeah, I guess maybe. To give more of a reason besides your father is evil and he's wrong and he abused you, because that's not a good look for propaganda.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess. But it's very, very stupid and very over the top. And Zuko and Katara are like, ew. Yikes.
I just love how Aang is so into it. He's just like, but aren't you the Avatar's girl? And Aang just angrily nods.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, she is. So yeah, there's a little nod at Zutara, but it's more of like a, wink, wink. It's not gonna happen. Get over it.
Yeah. This is the most you're gonna get.
Yeah, this is the most you're gonna get. Yeah, but this play is like propaganda at its worst, because the audience is like bored. They are just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then there's like another intermission, and Sokka is like, oh, I like this play, it's funny, but I want to give my actors some like real jokes that like I would say. Suki, will you help me? And she's like, I'm an elite warrior who studied years in the art of stealth. I think I can get you backstage.
I like that part.
Sokka and Suki, true love is being silly and stupid together. Gotta love it.
Yeah.
They go backstage. Katara and Aang are somewhere else, and like Toph and Zuko are kind of chilling. And he says that the reason that the play makes him so upset is because he's seeing all of his mistakes in real time. He's seeing the way he treated Iroh, and he feels really guilty about it and really upset because he doesn't know what happened to Iroh. He just knows that Iroh's at a prison. And he's like, oh, my uncle is never going to forgive me. I ruined it. And Toph is like, no, you didn't. And Toph basically explains that she met Iroh that one time, and he went on about how much he loved Zuko and how proud he was, and how the one thing that he was worried about was like what you were saying, that Zuko was going to go down the wrong path.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a really sweet moment between Toph and Zuko, and it really shows, I think, the ability that Toph has to kind of see through to the point of things,
I thought it was really adorable how just how they're drawn, Toph with her little feet out,
Yeah.
and everything, and that little heart to heart they have is really sweet. And I like the fact that it's confirmed that Toph punching is her showing affection. It's not her being mean or being like that's her way of saying that. Yeah, I care about you.
Yeah. It's like Toph looked at Zuko and said, is anyone going to adopt this like emo firebender prince? Anyone? And didn't wait for an answer.
Just took him in.
And then Katara shows up the next day like, but I filled out the paperwork.
It's too late.
Yeah. She's like, you are my brother.
Then the kid comes running in telling Zuko he got the scar on the wrong side.
My scar is not on the wrong side.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, but so Sokka and Suki go backstage. Sokka is the worst kind of fan. Never do this, guys. Never ever tell an actor, like, unless you're the director, do not tell the actor how to do their job. Like, never ever. But Sokka tells the guy these jokes, and the guy's like, actually, these are kind of funny. So that's great. And then it cuts to Aang and Katara, who are out on the balcony, and they have a little heart to heart because Aang is kind of feeling a little self conscious, and he says like, we kissed and I thought that meant we were going to be together and now we're not and I don't know what's going on. And Katara is like, we're in the middle of a war and I don't want to think about this right now. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's going on. And she says that she's confused and Aang kisses her again and she's like, what the hell? I just said I was confused. Mm-hmm. The thing is, I don't think she's confused about whether or not she loves Aang. I think she 100% has always and will always love Aang. That's not the confusing part. I think the confusing part for her is, do I pursue this while we're in a war and we might not come out of this alive? Do I bother to embrace these feelings at the risk of what comes after? Like, I think that's what she's confused about. Mm-hmm. Because so many people that she loves have been lost. And I think she's afraid of that happening to Aang, so she doesn't want to. So she's confused about whether or not to, whether to have loved and lost and never have loved at all. I think that's what she's confused about.
Right.
I don't think she's confused about her feelings. I don't think she was ever confused about her feelings.
Because when I was watching this as a kid, I was on Aang's side. I was like,
that's fair. You're allowed.
Why not kiss? But it's dumb, though. It's dumb.
Well, he's a dumb 12-year-old.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's a fair assessment.
Yeah. I'm happy that, Aang turned to himself as like, I'm such an idiot. And I'd be like, Katara's such a bitch.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I mean, obviously they can't do that on Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
But,
But he immediately realized it was a mistake.
Right.
Yeah. Well, because I think Aang misunderstood what Katara meant when she said she was confused. I think he thought, I'm confused about my feelings towards you. And he was like, oh, I'll kiss her and then she won't be confused.
Right.
So I think that was just his understanding of the situation. And, it's not necessarily like, oh, how could he think that? That's so stupid. Why would he think that? Like, it's a logical conclusion to come to. Mm-hmm. It was just the wrong one.
Yeah.
And he realized that and he acknowledged it and he said he was sorry. And he gave Katara the space to figure things out. He didn't continue to push, which is a good thing.
Right.
So that happens. And then they get back to the play and he's kind of grumpy now and he's sitting up on the top with Suki and Sokka. And the play starts again. The actor who plays Sokka makes some of the jokes and he is so, so happy. Mm-hmm. And Suki looks at him like, am I really gonna date this guy? Yeah, I guess I am. She's like, is this really who I want to be with? Yes, I do.
Yeah. I mean, she seemed happy that he was happy.
Yeah. Something else that bothered me is in the play, there's a part with Yue again and Suki gets mad. Mm-hmm. She gets mad that Sokka wants to watch this part of the play. And that bothered me. I don't like it. We don't like jealousy. Suki has no reason to be jealous. She won. Not that it's a game, but she won.
Right.
And also, if Suki and Yue met, they would have been really good friends. I feel like they would have definitely been friends. So that just bothered me. Yeah.
I mean,
I don't like that.
I didn't think it was jealousy. I just, actually, maybe
it looked like jealousy. Because in so many other instances, Suki's never been jealous.
Right.
Toph kissed her on the cheek thinking it was Sokka, and she wasn't mad about that. She wasn't even mad when Sokka explained, oh, I tried to protect someone and it failed. And Suki was like, yeah, but I'm different. She wasn't mad that happened. She wasn't mad that he was hesitant to kiss her. She understood and she respected it. So it just seems really weird that all of a sudden she's like,
I thought she was annoyed that Sokka shushed her.
Oh, maybe.
Instead of telling her what happened.
Yeah.
Don't shush me.
Yeah.
Fuck, I'll break your finger. That's how I took it, but jealousy could have been a part of it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. If it was jealousy, it felt very out of character. But it could have also just been annoyance.
Right.
Don't shush me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the play continues and it comes up to the present, and everyone's like, "Oh, the play's over." No, it's not.
There's more.
There's more, and so basically the play, has the Aang character fight Ozai while Zuko fights Azula. Zuko loses to Azula. he dies. And then Aang fights Ozai, he dies, Ozai wins. Yay, everybody cheers, because that's what the play was about. Go Fire Nation.
Yeah.
That must be real rough.
Yeah.
To sit and watch not only the fact that you die, but people are cheering. Like, you are a 14-year-old child and people are cheering your death. Like, that's gotta be rough.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny how everyone like turned and looked at Zuko when his character went down. It was like
honor.
And Zuko's just like, oh my, jeez Louise, bro.
Yeah. That was actually a very funny joke.
Yeah, it was.
That was a funny joke.
Yeah, but it's propaganda at its finest. Like, I'm able to accomplish what my father wanted to, and my father's father.
Yeah.
And we did it.
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Ozai killed his father.
Yeah.
Who said that?
Riot. Yeah, so that's really awkward, and you get this kind of shot of all of them just like, you know, dealing with that, and then they leave the theater, and it's kind of very obvious what's on everyone's mind, which is that what's going to happen? Or are we going to win? What's going to happen? This is what we're up against, you know, and that's a kind of a weird place to end an episode on. It doesn't end silly. It ends really like, oh boy.
They tried to line up the move by everyone saying that it was awful.
Yeah.
But still, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, ugh.
Yeah, it's a very interesting episode. Because you kind of get an idea of like how the Fire Nation feels about everything. Yeah. But it's an awful play, and I don't like it. And I think it's mean that all these grown adults were making fun of children. I said it.
Yeah. But again, it just seems like in this world, if you're above the age of 14, you're not considered a child. That's what it seems like.
Also, like, the fact that, like, these are living people in the world, it's like, I understand that, like, the Ember Island players are supposed to be, like, a bad acting troupe, and that's kind of the point. Because if they were a legitimate acting troupe, if they were a decent acting troupe, they, wouldn't make a play about real life people without actually attempting to talk to those people and get their perspective. And two, they wouldn't be making fun of children and depicting, you know, children dying on stage. But then again, it is purely propaganda. Bad propaganda, but it's purely propaganda.
I mean, they didn't do Zhao justice either. They just had him as a little doll.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Zhao failed.
No, yeah.
You know, Mei, Ty Lee, Azula, they didn't fail.
Right.
You know, they didn't have the whole like betrayal thing because I guess no one told them that.
It's too late.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, I hope the first thing that Zuko does as Fire Lord is just nope, no more Ember Island players. You guys are done. No more funding.
But then that's a dictatorship because you're suppressing free speech. Ooh, so
he's not suppressing free speech.
Yeah,
he's just ending a bad theater troupe.
No,
he could have a good theater troupe. I think he should. I think Zuko would create so many opportunities for good theater, good art, good, you know, entertainment, because so much of the Fire Nation is like about that, like dancing and stuff. But I think he should 100% get rid of the Ember Island players and put something better in their place.
But good art is subjective.
Oh, shut up.
It is, though. I don't know.
These people depicted him dying on stage. I think he has every right to be like, no, you guys don't get to be a theater troupe anymore. I'm putting something else. Either that or just completely changing the management. Maybe not getting rid of the Ember Island players as a thing, but just being like, your director's out. Your board of directors are out. All your actors, goodbye. You got an audition again, and I'm the one picking the auditions. Like, he's going to be, like, in the room with, like, the table. So, what are you doing today? What monologue are you doing? I'm the Fire Lord. Don't let that bother you. Like,
but see, that's a dictatorship, though.
No, it's not a dictatorship.
It is.
No, it's not a dictatorship. Getting rid of one theater troupe is not a dictatorship. Especially if they're bad.
All right.
I kind of want to see Love Amongst the Dragons, though. I kind of want to know what that's about.
What that's about. Yeah, it sounds interesting.
I wonder if it's like a Romeo and Juliet kind of thing. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? We should write it. We should write Love Amongst the Dragons and put it on, you and me.
Yeah, it sounds like a dragon spirit type thing.
Yeah, I mean the blue spirit's in it, so it's got to have some kind of elements of that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, that'll be our next podcast.
Yep.
We'll just staged reading of Love Amongst the Dragons.
Yes.
Yeah. So, anything else you want to say about this episode?
Nah. Just well, the one thing I'll say about these pair is that when everything first aired,
Mm-hmm.
the hype
Mhm.
for Sozin's Comet was real. So I remember they were doing a weekly thing.
Mhm.
So they were showing these episodes week after week.
Yeah.
Either it was either Mondays or Fridays. I forget. But when Ember Island players when the episode was done, boom, next week, are you ready? And then like the comments are flying all over the place.
Yeah.
Sosa's coming, is coming, this and that, yada yada. Bro, the hype was fucking real. So so watching these episodes at the time, and ending on Emperor's Island and everything's like a little silly but not really with the dark note. And then this shit came on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sozin's comment. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna
Yeah.
be good. This episode was very much like the calm before the storm.
Yeah.
You know.
It really was.
Yeah. I mean, I think the first time I watched this episode, I really didn't like it. But I think now I kind of appreciate it more for what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know, it's supposed to really cement, I think, the two choices that are in front of the cast, which is they win or they lose. One of those two.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah.
And I don't remember if I knew that this was the end.
Oh.
I don't know if I just missed it, but I just remember it was like Sozin's Comet is here, it's coming, da. I didn't know it was going to be the last. So at the end, I mean, I'm skipping obviously, but when we get to the end of the series, I was like, this is it? Really?
Yeah.
Like, they didn't say this, but I probably just missed it. But yeah. Hype is real.
Yeah.
All right, bring us home.
Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. You can find us wherever you find your podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We really appreciate all your support.
Yes.
And again, just a reminder that next week is going to be a longer episode because we're covering the whole 4-part ending Sozin's Comet. So,
Yep.
thank you again, and we will see you next week.
All right.
Bye.